I got a chance to make fun of my own movie Jaws, and I sent Jaws up in the opening scene. And that was my idea. I wanted to do the whole... I wanted to even get Susan Baccalini, who played Chrissy Walken's, back to play the same character. I imitated the same shots, tried to get the sun in the same place to glisten the water, the same way we did it in Martha's Vineyard. Previewed the film in Dallas, Texas, it was received by the audience. 800 people couldn't stop laughing. And I thought, oh my God, I have a comedy hit. And for the first time in my life, a comedy set piece actually worked and the audience couldn't stop laughing. The second that scene was over and the actual movie began, there were about 4 laughs in the next 2 hours, and that was it. And I think what killed the comedy was the amount of destruction. And the sheer noise level. The audience, and I was watching in the preview, that many people were watching the film with their hands over their ears, holding their ears because they were being assaulted by all the noise coming out of the speakers. And I think it's not that we dubbed it too loud. I just blew too much stuff up. Pauline Kael, she had a radio show. Off the air, she said to me, now you have, I hear 1941 coming out. She said, well, we're all waiting for that one. You know you're not going to get off as easy as you get off with your first 2 films. We're waiting for you to fail. And in so many words, she pretty much just said to me, you know, we've got our knives sharpened because this better be the greatest thing anybody's ever made or you're going to go down in flames. And I'll never forget her warning, almost like sight unseen, whether it's a good picture or a bad picture, it's your turn to be slapped. I was kind of riding the whirlwind. And when I did 1941, I have to tell you, I felt like I was made of Teflon. I felt that anything I put on film was going to succeed. I felt invincible. And I think, in a sense, at that point in my life, the best thing that could have happened to me was the drubbing that 1941 got both from the critics and the public. And I tell you something, I sobered up so quickly after that was over. I just became so precious and indulgent about getting everything right. I did 20 takes on inserts that should have been done by a second unit. I shouldn't even done the insert. I shot all the miniatures myself. I directed every single miniature. I should have had a miniature unit come in and shoot the Ferris wheel rolling down the pier. I had a first unit production company, and they were being paid first unit dollars to shoot what should have been second unit miniatures with a pared down 20-person miniature unit. And I couldn't let go. I couldn't share the workload with anyone. And I learned the greatest lessons of my career just from the experience of 1941. George Lucas asked me what I was doing next, and I said I wasn't sure, but I wanted to try again to get Cubby Broccoli to let me direct one of the James Bond films. Cubby, by the way, had twice turned me down. And George said, well, I've got something better than James Bond. It's called Raiders of the Lost Ark. So he had the title, he had the character. George had the idea that they were going after an antiquity called the Lost Ark of the Covenant, which I knew a little bit about. I should have known a lot more about it because I'm Jewish and George isn't. But George knew a lot of the history of when it went missing, and I knew a little bit of what it was about, what the mythology was about it. I did the Raiders movie because it was fun to do. And it also came at a good time because 1941 had just gone down in flames, and I went from the disaster of 1941 to my first day of shooting in La Rochelle, France, on Raiders of the Lost Ark. So in a sense, Raiders sort of rescued me from, you know, getting self-involved with, oh dear, the movie's going to be a big failure and all the critics hate it. And I think by the time I did Raiders of the Lost Ark, my next picture, I was humbled. Every single shot was storyboarded. I was 14 days under schedule. And I basically gave George Lucas a lot of credit because George just said, look, you can go over schedule for Columbia Universal on 1941, but you're my friend. you can't go over schedule with basically what is the money I'm responsible for. And that's all he had to say. He wasn't on the set. He wasn't over my shoulder. He came to visit sometimes, but he wasn't haunting me, and he wasn't my on-the-set producer. I didn't see him that often. But when I saw him, he would always nudge me about the schedule and homework and be prepared. And I think Raiders of the Lost Ark was probably the most prepared I've ever been in my career to direct a movie, and it paid off.
Meet me at Omar's. Be ready for me. I'm going after that truck. Oh. I don't know. I'm making this up as I go.